Imagine living in a country where a few families control almost everything: the food you eat, the banks you trust, the homes you live in, the malls you visit every weekend, all connected to just a handful of powerful names. But here's the shocking truth: most people have never even heard of them. They don't post on social media. They don't chase fame. They don't need attention. Because while the world is watching celebrities, they are quietly controlling billions behind the scenes. And once you understand how this system works, you'll never look at wealth the same way again. In this video, we're going deep inside one country to uncover the hidden billionaire families who built empires so powerful they don't just compete in the economy, they shape it. When people think about wealth, they think of famous billionaires, tech founders, CEOs, public figures, names like Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, people who are always in the spotlight. But in many countries, the real power doesn't belong to individuals. It belongs to families, generations of wealth, passed down, protected, and expanded over decades. These families don't just run businesses, they build systems, systems that keep making money, no matter what happens. And one country where this is clearly visible is the Philippines, a fast-growing economy, a nation full of opportunity. But behind its growth are powerful dynasties quietly shaping everything. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Most people believe that companies compete with each other, but in reality, many industries are controlled by just a few powerful groups. Different brand names, different companies, but behind them, the same families. One family controls malls, another controls banks, another controls real estate, another controls airlines and energy, and sometimes they are connected in ways most people never notice. This is not random. This is strategy. Because when you control industries, you don't just make money, you control the flow of money. And that is where real power begins. Let's start with one of the most powerful families in the country, the Tsai family, a name that quietly dominates shopping, banking, and real estate. Today, their wealth is worth billions, but their story didn't start with luxury. It started with survival. Decades ago, a man named Henry Tsai arrived with almost nothing: no empire, no massive capital, no powerful connections, just a small shoe store. At that time, no one could have imagined that this simple beginning would turn into one of the largest empires in the country. But Henry Tsai saw something others didn't. He understood one powerful idea: people don't just want products, they want convenience. So instead of staying small, he made a bold move. He started building malls, not small shops, massive shopping centers, places where people could shop, eat, relax, and spend time, everything in one place. And that idea changed everything. His malls expanded across cities, then across the entire country. Soon, millions of people were visiting his malls every single day. But here's where it gets interesting. He didn't stop there. He expanded into banking, creating one of the largest banks in the country, then into real estate, building residential towers, commercial centers, entire communities. Now think about this. People live in his buildings, shop in his malls, and keep their money in his banks. That's not just business, that's control. Today, the Tsai family doesn't just own companies, they own ecosystems, and their influence everywhere. But the Tsai family is just the beginning, because another family took a completely different path and built power in a whole new way. Long before modern skyscrapers, before luxury business districts, there was one family quietly shaping the future of cities: the Ayala family. Their story goes back over a century, making them one of the oldest and most powerful business dynasties. But what makes them different is their vision. They didn't just build businesses, they built cities. From financial districts to luxury residential areas to massive commercial centers, the Ayala family transformed land into opportunity. They developed some of the most important urban areas, places where businesses grow, where economies thrive. But they didn't stop there. They expanded into banking, into telecommunications, into energy, creating a network of industries, all connected, So when you walk through a modern city, chances are the land beneath your feet, the buildings around you, even the services you use may all be connected to one name: Ayala. Now let's talk about a family that mastered one thing better than anyone else: real estate. The Villar family, their journey started from humble beginnings. Not billionaires, not elites, just a vision. They focused on one idea: affordable housing, building homes for ordinary people. But they didn't think small. They scaled fast. From small housing projects to massive residential developments to entire communities, they expanded rapidly. Soon, they weren't just building houses, they were building cities within cities, places where thousands of families live. But then came the next level. They moved into retail, shopping centers, commercial spaces, and suddenly they controlled not just where people live, but where they shop and spend money. That's the pattern: expand, control, multiply. Now, take a step back and look at the full picture. Different families, different countries, different industries, but the same pattern. Over and over again. They don't just build businesses. That's what normal people do. They build systems, systems that control land, systems that control distribution, infrastructure, even daily life. And the scary part? Most people live inside these systems without ever realizing it. Because once these systems are in place, something powerful begins. A cycle, a loop that never stops. Money creates power. Power creates control. Control creates more money. And then it repeats again and again and again. Not for years, but for decades, for generations. This is why these families don't just grow rich. They evolve into something else, something bigger than wealth. Because wealth can disappear. But systems stay. They survive crises. They survive time itself. And that's the real secret. They don't chase money. They build structures that print it forever. And that's why they're not just rich, they're untouchable. So what can you actually learn from all of this? It's simple, but not easy. Wealth is not just about working harder than everyone else, because millions of people work hard and still stay in the same place. The real difference? They think differently. Instead of just making money, they focus on controlling value. Instead of staying small and safe forever, they scale, but not randomly, strategically, step by step, with a long-term vision. And instead of chasing trends like everyone else, they build something far more powerful. They build systems, because trends fade, products change, but systems, they keep running, day and night, with or without you. And that leads to the biggest realization of all: the real wealth in this world is not in what you sell, it's in what you own. At the beginning of this video, we talked about hidden families, powerful dynasties, the kind that control entire industries without most people even noticing. But now, you see the truth. They didn't get lucky. They didn't go viral. They didn't chase attention or fame. They moved differently, quietly, strategically, patiently. While the world was distracted, they were building. And maybe that's the real secret of wealth. It's not just about earning money, it's about building something that keeps paying you back again and again and again, even when you're not working. So the next time you walk into a mall, use a product, or trust a big brand, pause for a second and ask yourself one question: who really owns this? Because behind every big name, there could be a hidden empire, watching, growing, expanding, silently. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe, because here, we don't just talk about money. We break down power, hidden wealth, and the empires that run the world. And trust me, the next story, it's even bigger.